that would be fine. When you're taking the multiple choice test, it will be in fraction form.
Okay, because I'm looking at the homework, and one of them is like some blank over 10. Can I put that as a decimal?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's see. So the biggest thing is just identifying the conjugate and make sure you multiply the same thing on top and bottom. So if you have 5 plus 6i, then you need to multiply that by 5 minus 6i. Remember, just change the sign, don't change the first term. So 5 minus 6i on the top. So the top will be 30. 6 and negative 6, negative 36i. 7 times 5, negative 35i. And then negative 7 times negative 6 is a 42i squared, or minus 42, which then would be negative 12. 36 and 35 is a minus 71i. Over, again, when you do the conjugates, you just have to worry about 25 and negative 36i squared would be plus 36. So what is that? 50, 61? I think that's 61. So you'd write negative 12 over 61 minus 71 over 61i.
Wait, why is it just 61 on the bottom?
When you multiply these two conjugates, the one with plus and one with minus, you're going to get the 25 for the start. And then when you multiply 5 times negative 6i, you get negative 30i. And then 6i times 5 is going to give you a positive 30i. So your I parts cancel out. So anytime you multiply two complex numbers where one's plus and one's minus, but everything else is the same, it always cancels out the imaginary part and you're just left with the two real parts. Which is the whole thing we're trying to do, is make the denominator just one number.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Okay. So that's why you always pick that conjugate. Excuse me. All right, so if you have 7 plus 2i in the bottom, then you need to multiply by 7 minus 2i. Same thing on top, 7 minus 2i. And then it's just multiplying the top two. 6 and 7 is 42. 6 times negative 2i is negative 12i. Negative I and 7 is negative 7i. Negative I and negative 2 is positive 2i squared, or minus 2. So that's 40 minus 19i for the over. And then the denominator is going to be 49. 7 times 7. You're going to have a negative 12 and a positive, negative 14 and positive 14i, so those will cancel out. You just have to do 2i times negative 2i, which is negative 4i squared, or plus 4. 49 plus 4 is 53. And again, on your quiz, if you leave it that way on your homework, that's fine. On the quiz, it'll be written as the real part, 40 over 53 minus the imaginary part. I don't think that reduces, but. All right, so one more. I think I only did 4 of them. And I think you only have 10 on your actual homework assignment, since these take a little bit more work. Okay, so if it just has an imaginary number on the bottom, which you can't leave, the conjugate of positive 2i is you'd still do a negative 2i. It'd be like 0 plus 2i and 0 minus 2i. So negative 2i on the top. And the reason for that is, well, let's do the top first. 5 times negative 2i is negative 10i. Negative 3i and negative 2i is a positive 6i squared or minus 6. So this will be negative 6 minus 10i over 2i times negative 2i is negative 4i squared or positive 4. So if you multiply the imaginary times its opposite, it will give you a positive denominator. And in math, we like positive denominators. Now this will reduce, and you can reduce that. Everything reduces by 2. So that'd be negative 3 over 2 minus 5 over 2i. All right.